Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another video, another match preview where, it's match day. So, listen, we're looking forward. It's not long until we play Crystal Palace in the Premier League. Let's talk about everything we know going into this game, and it's the opening game of the season as well. So there has to be a little bit of nerves. Obviously, if anyone's not nervous, I don't know. I feel like you have to be nervous, right? Because even though we won the Club World Cup, we've had a good preseason. There's still that sort of uncertainty because we haven't seen it in the Premier League yet. And I think once you see that first win, that first performance, it just builds that confidence. It builds that foundation. And then you know what to expect. So you have a better idea of what to expect. So that's not me trying to be negative or anything like that. I'm obviously very optimistic. I do think we are going to beat Crystal Palace, just to be clear. So I'll let you know my score predictions later on in the video. There is no doubt that this is going to be a difficult game. The question is how difficult and why, because there are factors that can go in our favor and against us. And there's already things that are no longer in our control that have come up, and we're going to have to find a way to deal with them. So let's talk about the first point, the first thing that we need to think about with regards to this Crystal Palace match. Let's talk about Levi Colwill being injured and what that means for the rest of the season, but especially coming into this game. Now, Levi Colwill is a key part of what we're doing. He's always been one of the most crucial parts of Maresca's system in terms of how we want to build the ball out from the back, taking that central role when we have the ball in order to pick the passes and go through into the midfield as well with those through balls. I've always been a big fan of Colwill's distribution. I think he's got a great pass on him. We have questioned at times his ability to defend, but I don't think that we can doubt he's definitely one of Chelsea's best centre-backs. Otherwise, he wouldn't continue playing, and I do think he's improved. Now, his injury means he's going to be out for a long time, probably the majority of the season. And the next best player to play in that position is Tosin. And Maresca's already publicly said that Tosin is the next best player to play in that position. But the issue that we have is coming into this game, now we know that Tosin is set to miss out against Crystal Palace through injury. Now, this isn't a really big injury. It's not like it's nothing to do with, something that's going to keep him out for weeks or months. It's a precautionary measure. This is according to the Times. He felt a small issue in training. He didn't complete Saturday's training session, and the injury is not thought to be serious. But Maresca, we've seen it time and time again. He prioritizes player welfare and the ability of not the ability, but the idea of keeping the player fit long term, even though he misses a few matches short term, as opposed to what we've seen from a number of managers in the past where they just want their best players to play. Even if there is a high chance of them getting injured, they put them out on the field. That is the way that they like to manage the squad. Maresca has definitely done things differently since he's been at Chelsea. So no Levi Colwill, no Tosin, which begs the question, who is going to be playing in that role instead of those two players? Who is going to be playing? Who's going to be our centre-backs coming into this match? And, should we be worried? I mean, the options are very clear. Left back and right back, we're obviously going to see Cucurella in there. And then potentially Gusto or Reece James on the right-hand side. We have Fofana, who could potentially be available. We have Anselmino, who's barely played any minutes for Chelsea. We have Achimpong, as well as Jorel Hato. Badia Shields obviously out injured as well. If Fofana is fit, then I would expect him to start. But again, knowing Maresca and his precautionary measures, I don't see Fofana starting this game. So I'm going to ask you the question. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. Maybe we end up going with Hato in the middle with Chalobah, which is certainly not our first choice. But not many other options unless you throw Josh Achimpong straight into the limelight. I certainly don't think that Anselmino's ready at this point in time. So let me know what you think about the defensive situation. If I had to pick off the top of my head, it makes sense to go for Hasso on the left, Chalobah on the right, but you're still not really getting the profile that you have with Tosin. You're not getting the profile that you have with Colwill. So what are we missing there? Are we going to have to adapt to other parts of our game because of those defenders not being available? The next question is Eze. What are Crystal Palace going to have at their disposal? Now, they've got some great players. Adam Wharton, Mateta. I'm a big fan of Mateta. I think a lot of people would have taken Mateta at Chelsea if the opportunity came. They've got a good goalkeeper in Dean Henderson. I think defensively, Crystal Palace are pretty solid as well. They've got what Oliver Glasner's doing at Crystal Palace is remarkable. And I do think that if they continue and have another great season with him, not even saying they need a trophy, then I think that he'll be in line for a top job if something comes available. But if Eze is not fit for this match or not in a state of mind where he should be playing because he's been linked with Tottenham, that actually seems to be a really serious negotiation. That would be a huge loss for Crystal Palace. And I think that gives me so much more confidence going up against them because most of their attacks go through Eze. He's the main man for them. And not to say they won't have quality without him, because obviously they will. They still have threats. But that's like us not having Cole Palmer. Right, it's a big hit for them. It's a massive hit, and I think that without Eze, they are going to struggle to create as many chances as they would with him. I do see Chelsea conceding. To be honest with you, I do see us conceding, but I see us scoring more than Crystal Palace. My prediction, I'd have to say, 2-1 to Chelsea. I don't see it as a massive high-scoring game. I see it as, I do see it being a little bit of a chess match at times. We've got two good tacticians in Maresca and Oliver Glasner, but it's a home game. We have better players. We also have momentum and confidence after winning the Club World Cup. Not to mention the fact that there's pressure on Chelsea to perform this season. It's not even a case of we're Chelsea, we must win, and not actually having the players capable of doing it. We have upgraded our squad in most senses. Not every single part of the squad has improved. I think you would say the goalkeeper can get better, and maybe we can improve on the on the left side. You've only got Jamie Gittins and Tyreek George. Maybe we could have a little bit more quality there. But that's me being picky. All in all, Chelsea have we have great players, and it's unfortunate with the injury of Colwill and Tosin. We wouldn't even be stressing about it if they were both fit. But it is something that we definitely have to think about now. 2-1. Yeah, that's my start. I'm going to have to stay strong on that one. I really don't see Palace winning this game. I don't see Chelsea losing it. I don't see it happening. I think that we'll see Pedro Neto starting instead of Estevao. I know a lot of people have been speaking about Estevao. Should he start instead of Pedro Neto or on either side, to be fair, like we have seen him play as a 10, but no way Palmer's getting dropped for this one. I think Neto deserves the opportunity to lead this team as he has been doing over the past couple of weeks, even months since the Club World Cup has started. He was our best player in the Club World Cup. He was he was an inspiration in terms of the way he dealt with, obviously, the death of a very good friend of his, Diego Jota, and I remember watching him walk out in America and just go out there with this hunger, this desire. There is a mentality in Pedro Neto that I love to see, and I think that he is turning into a real leader in this team. I don't know if he's vocally a leader, but on the pitch it looks that way, and I think that having players like João Pedro and Delap who are actually going to get on the end of the crosses, you're going to see Pedro Neto thrive this season more than any. Not to say that Estevao isn't good enough to start for Chelsea. He certainly is, but I don't put him in that bracket ahead of Pedro Neto. It's one of those situations where Estevao has to prove through coming on in games that he can make an instant impact, which I'm not worried about either. I think that we're honestly going to have a lot of competition this season. João Pedro starts for me. Jamie Gittins starts. I think Tyreek George will be on the bench. but certainly has a part to play this season if we don't get Garnacho or Xavi Simons. I think that we'll end up seeing Palmer on the 10. Delap will be on the bench. Normal midfield of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez. You might see Andre Santos making an appearance as well. And depending on what we do, if we're overlapping or not, I think if we overlap, I wouldn't have an issue with Gusto starting. But if we're going to do the whole inverted right back, then Reece James is an absolute no-brainer. We're going to have to rotate those two an awful lot because, well, we're playing Champions League football now. So I think as long as we're overlapping, I can justify Gusto starting ahead of Reece James, knowing that Reece James will still start the majority of games, if that makes sense. Because I don't think we're going to overlap that much. But I've certainly seen more flexibility from Maresca in pre-season. Like we did see James overlap. We did see Gusto getting further up the pitch. And I think that's great. The question is, are we going to do that week in, week out? I don't think so. I think it might be 50-50 or maybe 60-40. In which case, I mean, that's a good level of rotation. You get the best out of both players. Play them in the positions where they thrive more than the other. And I think that the physicality of Gusto outdoes the physicality of James because Gusto can stay fit and still overlap. But then technically, Reece James is clearly better when he goes in that midfield. But I say that against PSG, James started in the midfield and then Gusto was on the right-hand side overlapping anyway. So maybe we could see them play together, although I doubt that will be the case against Crystal Palace. They'll probably sit deep, look to counter. The question is whether Chelsea will be able to deal with that. I think we will. And we're going to have to find moments of magic to beat Palace. I don't think that it's going to be a situation where chances will be easy to come by. But you look at the pitch, you look at the quality we have. I just don't see us not getting goals. I don't see us not creating chances. We will create, we will score. And I think that Palace might get a goal as well, but I just don't see them getting anything out of this game. So I'm predicting 3 points for Chelsea. I'm predicting a good start against Crystal Palace. And then moving on to West Ham, which should hopefully be a pretty easy win against Graham Potter. But let me know what you think, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything I've said. And what do you think about the green screen as well, the new background? All the best, guys, and we will catch up very, very soon.